Hello and welcome to today's video. I hope you all are doing great. If you are an employee or have filed your ITR, you must have heard the term HRA, House Rent Allowance. House Rent Allowance is a part for your salary structure. In this video, we will discuss what HRA is and the rules for employed or self-employed persons and see with an example how it's calculated. At last, we will see things to consider when making HRA deduction and documents required. So, what is HRA? An employer gives a house rent allowance for an employee's rented accommodation. So, you are still eligible to use this exemption even if you work for yourself or your company doesn't provide an HRA. But the catch is that house rent allowance is exempt from tax if you live in rented house. So, people who have a place of their own and get HRA from their employer cannot reap its benefit. Now we will see rules and calculations for salary employed and self-employed, or those who don't have the HRA in their salary structure. Let us start with the salaried employee. Your HRA exemption can be calculated based upon three factors: the actual rent paid minus 10% of your basic salary, the actual amount of HRA given to you, 50% of your total basic salary if you are in a metro city like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata or Chennai, or 40% in non-metro cities. The minimum figure of these is the HRA that you can claim for tax deduction. Let's see this with an example. On screen you can see, suppose this is my salary structure. In this I have a basic of 30,000, HRA of 13,000, and ignore other components as of now as they are not considered for our calculation. Suppose I pay rupees 10,000 as rent. So now let's calculate all three factors and decide what my tax assumption will be. My actual rent will be 1.56 lakh, 50% of the basic will be 1.8 lakh, and actual rent minus 10% basic is 84,000. So, as we discussed, I will get exemption for the minimum of all these factors. So, I will be eligible for 84,000 as an exemption. You can even use the HRA calculator, a link to which I will provide in the description. If the employee pays more than 1 lakh in the rental expenses each year, they must give their landlord's PAN number when filing the ITR. Now let's see the factors and the calculations for self-employed, or for an employee who pay rental expenditures but doesn't receive HRA as a part of their salary structure. Such people can claim rental cost as per section 80GG, which also has three factors to consider, and we can claim minimum of these: 5,000 per month or 60,000 a year, the yearly rent minus 10% of the taxpayer's actual total income, 25% of the actual total income of the year. Now let's see with the example. Suppose there are two individuals. One has a total revenue of 2 lakh and the other has 1.8. The first pays 80,000 annually and other pays 60,000 as rent. Now after calculating all three factors, we can see first individual gets an exemption of 50,000 and other get 42,000, which comes to a minimum of the calculated factors of both people. Now let's see things to consider when making HRA deduction. If you pay rent to your spouse, you cannot claim a HRA tax exemption. HRA exemption in income tax can be availed even if you have taken a home loan. We can claim house rent allowance if we stay with our parents by paying rent to them, getting a receipt and getting into a rent agreement with them. This can be a nice gesture to your parents while saving on taxes. Also, parents need to report the rent paid as an income in their income tax return. If their other income is below the basic exemption or taxable limit, they can save on family income with a lower tax slab. Submitting the PAN details of your landlord is mandatory. If you annually pay more than 1 lakh, maintenance charges for the apartment cannot be included in the HRA tax exemption. In case of NRI landlord, a TDS of 30% has to be deducted from the rent before paying it. Now let's discuss the documents required for HRA deduction. Leasing certificate, rental agreement, and the rent receipts are the most important documents to include when requesting a tax reduction for HRA. In situations if the landlord doesn't have a PAN, he or she should have a self-declaration with the same information. That's all for this video. If you have any further question on HRA, please comment. I will try to make a follow-up video addressing those queries. See you next time. Nikhil Dhawan signing off.